Welcome to Wishpath Yoga. My name is Meredith. We all know meditation is a really beneficial thing to do. However, on days when our emotions feel really big, sometimes starting our practice in stillness with our eyes closed can simply feel too overwhelming. Exercise impacts the way that energy moves through our subtle bodies. The movement of this energy affects our emotional state. So on days, for example, when say anxiety is really high or frustration feels really powerful, we can pause and notice, do I experience these emotions in any particular part of my body? So for example, is there a knot in my stomach? Does my jaw feel really tight? Are my shoulders up around my ears? All these postural experiences require energy. So it's almost like the energy gets trapped in particular parts of our body to sustain the uncomfortable experience or sensations that we have. So when we do Hatha yoga, physical yoga, we're moving our bodies through all these different postures, different shapes, and that movement requires energy. So for example, what I like to do is on days where I'm feeling really anxious and I perhaps have a knot in my stomach, that I invite the energy trapped there to be released, almost like I'm siphoning it away and allowing it to be transformed into the energy it takes to move through my practice. That way, by the end of Hatha yoga, by the end of my physical practice, and I come to stillness at the end, my body feels more comfortable and often my mind feels a lot calmer too. So in that calmer state, it can feel easier to do some meditation. So if you like, you can take this kind of intention or wish path into your practice on days when emotions are feeling really high, so that by the end of your practice, meditating and being a little bit more reflective about the emotional experiences that you're having can feel easier. So I'll give you a minute to get out your mat and perhaps a blanket if you like extra cushioning for your knees. I'll meet you at the back of your mat and we'll get started. All right, so we'll start in mountain pose at the back of the mat, feet comfortable distance apart. As always, a little bit of weight in your heels and balls of your feet. So you engage that tripod that you have available in each foot between the heel, the big toe knuckle, and the little toe knuckle. Good. Pressing down through your legs to keep your knees gently soft. Grow tall, bring your spine to neutral, pelvis to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in, let your arms float up, and then bringing them to your heart, hold with little pressure between the pads of your fingers, setting your intention. Good. Softening your knees, we'll come to our standing cat-cow. So hands on the thighs, take your heart forward, and then moving to cat stretch on your exhale, and then switching it up. Coming to cow, take a breath in and exhale while you're here, and then as you round to cat, take a nice deep breath in, moving in the back body. One more time each way. Good. Bring your elbows to your thighs, allow your head to drop. If you're able to take your hands to the floor, let your head drop as well, but keep your knees a little soft as we're just starting and just warming up. If it feels nice, you can sway your hips a little side to side. And then reaching into your hands, let your knees touch down, using a blanket if you need for cushioning. Allow your right leg to stretch out behind you and then pressing down into your hands and your left foot. Let your heel lift level with your hip. Exhale, knee to heart. And opening. Do that 2 more times. And then allowing your toes to set down, drop your heel all the way to the ground, coming to side plank. So top arm into the sky. If you feel steady, you can lift your straight leg. Swimming your top arm down, roll your belly to face the floor. Exhale, knee to heart 1 more time, and then we'll trade sides. Stretch your other leg back, press down to lift your straight leg level with your hips, and keep your front ribs held in. Knee to heart on your exhales. Returning your foot to the floor, flattening it all the way down, left arm to the sky. If you wish, press down to lift your straight leg. And then allow your top arm to swim back down. We'll bring the back knee in one more time. And moving to child's pose, exhale. Taking your breath in and down. Exhale, rolling to cat stretch. And then coming back to neutral spine. Tuck your toes, lift your hips for downward dog, keeping your knees and elbows bending toward each other to begin, pressing through the balls of your feet, pressing through the pads of your fingers. Keep your front ribs held in toward your spine and your neck gently relaxed. If it feels nice, take one leg straighter and then trade. Walking out your legs one at a time. And then coming back to deeply bent knees, press forward to plank pose. And then drawing back. If you like, keep going back and forth at your own pace. And if there's any trouble in your knees, just make the bend a little bit smaller. Return your knees to the floor, relax your toes, and we'll lift up into kneeling. Bring your right leg a little bit ahead, bring your knee over top of your heel. Fingertips come below your shoulders onto the floor, and then let your back knee lift up. And then allow your back knee to bend as you draw your front leg a little straighter, lifting your toes. And rocking between those two positions. So back knee is bending as front leg goes gently straighter. Good. Back knee to the floor, relax your toes. Exhale, draw to tall. Arms come open, left arm across your chest. Right arm reaching further back. And then reaching one hand to the front, one hand to the back, tipping. Take a swim. Lowering your hand, we'll step to downward dog. If you like, doing a few more of those deeper knee bends, pressing to plank. Elbows can bend and hug slightly toward each other. Setting your knees down, coming to child's pose again. Coming back to your knees. Stepping your left leg forward and coming into lunge on the other side. Watch when your front knee bends, it stays stacked over top of your heel. Press down through everything that is down so your hips feel gently buoyant. And then allowing your back knee to bend, let your front toes come up. As you pull your hips back, your front knee can stay as bent as you need. Good, resting back knee down. Drawing to tall, open your arms and bring that right arm across, looking to the side wall. And let your other arm reach to the back of the mat. And then opening your arms like a letter T, one to the front, one to the back, tip, letting your hand land right under your shoulder as the other one reaches toward the sky. Swim back crawl, returning your hands to the ground, and we'll step to downward dog. Watch you don't have all the weight on the pinky finger edges of your wrists when you're in downward dog. Bending your knees, press forward to plank. Set your knees down a little behind your hips, relax your toes, and lowering through the front of your body until the front ribs are just hovering off the ground. Bow down, take a breath in, exhale, press to plank pose. Exhale as you come to kneeling. Take that breath in at the top. Allow your toes to tuck under behind you and a little bit squeeze your buttocks and then rest your hands there, hugging your elbows toward each other. Let your heart gently lift. If your lower back is comfortable, you can reach your hands for your heels. Allow one arm to reach forward, pull yourself back to the floor with toes still tucked under, press to straight legs. Let your heavy head drop. As you exhale, come to standing. Breathe in. And then lowering to chair, knees bending toward the centers of the feet. Press into your heels. Feel that nice buoyancy through your hips. As you exhale, come back to mountain pose, neutral pelvis, and return to chair. Pressing into your heels to rise so your legs feel really strong. One more. Breathe in deeply, and then returning to the ground, bending your knees at first so that your tummy can rest against your thighs. Walk your hands forward to downward dog. And with your knees gently bent, press into your left foot to step your right foot up into a lunge. Have a quick peek, make sure your feet are hip width apart. Back knee bends as you roll to tall. Let your arms come alongside your ears, as long as your ribs don't push too far forward. Bring right hand to hip, lean gently to the side. Circle down, breathe in, and let your hands come into your heart. Take a breath in this place. Exhale as you come to straight legs. Inhale as you lower. So both legs straightening here, and then both knees bending. Leaning forward, come to warrior three, pressing down to lift your straight leg. Exhale, draw through into pigeon, ankle over thigh, hips traveling back, being gentle with both knees. If this is too much, you can leave that other foot on the ground. You can lower your hips, but keep pressing through your standing foot. Press the pads of your fingers together. Step back into your lunge and then to downward dog. Bend your knees, press to plank. We'll repeat that one more time. And then from bent knees, pushing to step your left foot forward. Set up your base and then come to tall. Let your arms lift in front of you or taller without pushing your ribs forward. Gaze lifts a little because we say things are looking up. And allow your hands to gather into your heart. A little pressure between the pads of your fingers. Breathe in. Exhale to come to straighter legs. Inhale to lower. Feel free to take this at your own pace. And if it's too much, you can always just do the arms with the back knee resting on the floor. Lean forward, exhale, warrior three. Exhale as you come to pigeon. So again, careful with your knees. And we'll reverse our steps, moving back to Virabhadrasana C, and then landing for lunge. Step to downward dog. Bend your knees, press to plank, And one more time. And then from the lunge, we're going to come back up with the left foot and let the back foot go all the way flat. Pull to the back of your mat so you can be high or down low. And we're going to rock back and forth. Listen to your knees. If there's any difficult sensations, don't bend so deeply. And as you head to the back of your mat, take your front foot and turn it so all 10 toes are facing the same way. Bring your hips as low as your knees are happy to go, pressing into your heels, round to cat stretch. And coming to cow. Experiment with your breathing here. Sometimes it can feel nice to exhale as you come to cow and inhale as you go to cat. And we'll roll to standing. Breath in at the top. Opening your left foot for warrior 2, so that knee is going to bend just until it's over your heel. Roll out your wrist gently. Going to tip your fingers toward the sky. Cross your wrists above you and return. So you can experiment if the inhale or the exhale feels better as you lift and lower. Unique experiences, so you can try both. And rolling out your wrists and turning toward the ground, back toe tucking under, stepping to downward dog. Bend your knees and bring your right foot between your hands, back heels down, and then we'll rock side to side. Good, and then turning, bring all 10 toes to the long side of the mat. Fingertips and toe tips line up, knees a little bent. Pressing into your heels, relax your neck. Going to straighter legs only as you feel ready. And then with hips low, exhale, come to tall. Opening to warrior 2, right foot turning out 90 degrees in relation to the back foot. Again, rolling out your wrists if you wish. And then pressing through the tips of your fingers toward the sky. Cross your wrists above you and then bring your arms back down. Tracking the bending knee toward the center of the foot. Rolling out your wrists, turning to lunge, back toe tucks, exhale, downward dog. Return your knees to the floor. Take your right foot out to the side. As you thread the needle, drop to your elbow or reach your shoulder across and see if you can grab onto that outstretched ankle. Your other arm can come to your lower back, palm up, or reaching around for the inner opposite thigh. And reverse your steps. Left leg opening, foot to the ground. You can turn toward that foot resting on your elbow, or go further, shoulder landing. Other hand coming to the lower back, or reaching around. Coming back to hands and knees. Back to downward dog. With knees soft, bring right foot forward, maintaining your feet hip width apart, rolling up to tall. And we'll come to twist. So what we'll do is, with the back knee a little soft, try to bring your pelvis to neutral so you're not jutting too far forward. If you can keep that feeling, take your back leg straighter. Turn to the side, either in a tall position or coming across the front thigh, wrist drawing back between the elbows. Try to keep your straight leg hip lifting away from the floor. Inhale to square forward. And now we're going to flow. So whatever twist you were doing, come to it on your exhale. Inhale to square forward and up. You can also do this with your back knee on the floor. The lifted knee is feeling too much. And last one. Rest your back knee down. Relax your toes and square forward. Rest your hands below your shoulders, and keeping your tummy on your front leg, allow it to go as straight as you need to feel some stretch. If you want, same hand to foot, gently bringing the toes towards your shin. Feel free to also walk your hands further forward, taking your gaze into the space behind you. Rocking to a flat foot. We're going to bring that arm inside the leg, so hands are shoulder width apart. Now, see what you feel in the back of your thigh here. You can stay here, or bow a little closer to the ground. Some of you will bring your elbows down when you're ready. Breathe deeply. You have the option to re-lift your back knee. And reverse your steps. When you're ready, you can step to downward dog. And we'll try the other side. So bringing your left foot forward, bring your feet hip width apart. Exhale to draw to tall. Watch your front knees over your heel, pointing toward the center of your foot. Back knee a little bit soft. Inhale. Exhale, turn to the side. Or come across your front thigh and lift the straight leg hip away from the ground as best you can. Return to the front, lift your arms if you like, and we'll twist across. Again, remember, you can put your back knee down if the lifted knee feels too much. Try one more. And returning your hands to the ground, back knee lands down, untuck your toes. Drawing your front hips back, you can let the front toes lift up, holding the base of your foot. You can also try front foot flat, different feeling through the ankle. And rocking forward, trading places with your left hand and foot, so you have that hand straight down from your shoulder. Check in with the back of this thigh and hang out here, or go a little closer to the ground. Another alternative is to come higher. If there's a strong stretch already, you can just stay upright. Those of you able to bring your elbows down, see how it feels to line them up under your shoulders. And then if you wish, you can lift your back knee. Reverse your steps. Breathe in, exhale, downward dog. Feet hip width apart, and then gently, as you're ready, walk your hands to your feet. And if you like, stand on your palms. Padahastasana, working your toes towards your wrists. Softening your knees as much as you need. Really letting your head drop. And then you can experiment with how it feels to let your elbows turn to point towards your shins. If you did notice a part of your body holding tension at the beginning of the class, keep exhaling from that place. Release your hands and exhale, slowly stand up. Breathing in, hands come to your heart. Let your fingers interlace, press your hands toward the ground. Let your hands release, inhale. Lean over to one side and then to the other. Exhale, fold, head dropping. Walking back to downward dog. Pressing down into your feet. Let your right leg start to lift, keeping your hips level to begin. And then if it feels good, open your hips so that leg can draw higher. Keep your front ribs in and down. Option to bend your top knee. Circling your knee into your chest. Exhale, bring your shoulders over your wrists. And then we'll place that knee behind its own wrist. Same side for pigeon. Relaxing your back toes. Holding here, or if this knee is comfortable, inching that back knee further back. You're welcome to come down off of your hands. If you can bring your forehead down, you're welcome to pillow your head on your hands. And then leaning onto that pigeon hip, allow the back leg to stand forward. So you have the sole of your foot to the floor. Gently drawing tall against that front thigh. Walk your left hand behind you, turning to look a little left and up with your eyes. So you feel your eyes get a gentle stretch. Front hand is relaxed. See how it feels to turn the opposite way. And then coming back to hands and knees, or downward dog, whatever way works for you to get there. But eventually making your way to downward dog, lifting your left leg level with your hip, and then letting your hips open. Bending that top knee. Careful not to arch your lower back too much. Top knee circles into your chest. Bring your shoulders over your wrists and gently come into pigeon. So again, the front knee wants to feel completely clear in this pose. So as you're ready, you can explore going further down into the stretch. Usually one hip feels really differently from the other, so be careful You don't have to necessarily repeat on this side what you experienced on the opposite leg. Remember that everything in your body is interrelated. So if there is an obvious point of sensation, allow the transforming messages that are occurring there to ripple through the rest of your body. Falling out onto that pigeon hip, we'll bring the back leg around, standing the foot to the floor. If you find that you're really on your tailbone here, sometimes it's helpful to take a pillow, tuck it under your hips a little bit so you can be more upright and tall before you twist. So turning to look behind you. Front arm is relaxed, so resisting the temptation to really pull with that arm. Just allow your body to turn to where it's able on its own. Same thing you do when you're turning to back out of your driveway. Good. Then we'll come over to the other side. And square forward, coming to downward dog. And then forward to plank. Twist your feet and bend to plank. As your hips go back, bend your elbows too and hug them toward each other. And from center, allow your knees to land. See how it feels to do a few cat-cows. Carry the last cat into child's pose. And if you like, snow angel your hands down by your feet, turning your palms up, elbows heavy. And exhale to slowly sit up nice and tall. And now, please grab a pillow to sit on. Rather than plunking down right in the center of the pillow, try to sit more on the front edge, so you just have a little bit of lift under your sitting bones. And then opening your legs wide to the side into Upavista Konasana. So I want to emphasize staying on the sit bones here rather than on the tailbone. So if the only way you can have your legs straight is to be back here, maybe better to keep a little bend to the knees and come up off the tailbone. So perhaps you'll feel a little bit of sensation in the inside of your legs or the backs of your legs. So you're welcome to stay here if you already have that feeling of stretch. We're all hinged a little differently in terms of how our bones meet each other. So find sensation that feels appropriate today. If you are able to move from your pelvis forward, then bring your hands out in front of you and walk yourself into the pose where it feels good to go today. So stretching the inside of the legs, we connect in with the liver meridian. So this is a good one to do on days where maybe you're feeling a little bit of, or a lot of frustration. While you're in this pose, breathing deeply, imagining patience entering your system, feeling of calm, and exhaling, letting go of what doesn't feel good. Remembering that we always have the choice to change the way that we're thinking about a situation. Often it's the only thing that we can change. So take a moment longer here. Keep pressing into your heels. As you exhale, walk yourself back to tall. Draw one heel in toward the center of your body, and we're going to lean over to the side on the same side the bent knee is. Bring the other arm alongside your ear. If you wish, exhale, lift your hips up off the ground. And reversing your steps, lower down, and we'll trade sides. So staying with your hips on the ground, leaning into your bottom hand, top arm can reach over. If this bothers your shoulder, you can just hold your shoulder. And again, you can lift up. And relaxing down. Bring yourself into a position for meditation. If you can't sit with crossed legs with happy knees, you're welcome to take your legs just straight out in front of you. So bring your hands together in front of your heart. Just allow the pads of your fingers to gently press into each other for a moment. Feel where your hips are in contact with the ground. And then imagine how it is that you would like to feel. What word would represent the way you would want to feel? Calm, inspired, creative. If there was a difficult emotion that you noticed at the beginning of the class, if you could define that emotion or experience with one word, what would it be? And then consider how it is you would like to feel. What word would you use to define that experience? Just one. Almost like the opposite of the difficult feeling. And then using those two words, we're going to recite them in our minds at the same rhythm as our breathing. So as you exhale, hear the word in your mind that best describes your stress. And imagine the energy leaving your system. As you inhale, recite the word that represents how it is you would like to feel. And then just breathing naturally. Match the recitation of these two words to the rhythm of your natural breathing. If there is an obvious point in your body where these experiences are happening, you can imagine exhaling from that place and then breathing into that place. Do your best to remember that feelings come and go. Feelings come and go with the stories in our minds. And with practice, we learn to separate our sense of self from the stories, from the feelings, and observe any painful ones with as much compassion as we can. But enough clarity to know that we have choice not to necessarily follow, not to necessarily identify with every single sensation, every single feeling that comes up. So you can enjoy reciting these two words like a mantra for as long as you wish, strongly believing that the transformation is occurring. And then if you like, at the end, you can dedicate that anyone having similar stress may also find freedom and relief. Find the solutions and the assistance that they need so they too can feel peaceful, and that the flow of energy in their body feels balanced. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.